When I moved to Seattle, I didn't know anyone. New job, new city, new apartment with thin walls and creaky floors. I told myself it was a fresh start, a chance to leave everything behind, including the ugly breakup I refused to talk about. I'd barely unpacked when I met Noah. He lived across the hall in 3B. Wavy dark hair, always in a hoodie and slides, headphones around his neck even when they weren't plugged in. He introduced himself with a crooked smile and said, "If your Wi-Fi sucks, mine's unprotected. Help yourself." That was our first conversation. The second was a few days later, when I locked myself out and sat on the hallway floor like a lost tourist. He came out of his apartment, holding a half-eaten bowl of cereal and said, "You okay?" "I'm fine," I muttered. "You want to not be pathetic alone?" He held the door open, and I stepped inside. His apartment was cozy, messy in a lived-in way. Art prints on the wall, books stacked in corners, a guitar with one broken string leaning near the window. That night, we watched dumb YouTube videos and shared leftover Thai food straight from the container. I found out he was a freelance designer, hated olives, loved thunderstorms, and slept with a box fan blasting in his face. I also learned he was funny, dry, quick-witted, and kind of absurd in the best way. We didn't hang out every night, but we didn't need to. He'd knock on my door with snacks. I'd drag him to late-night grocery runs. Sometimes we'd just sit in the stairwell and talk about everything but the things we were really scared of. One night, after a long day at work, I came home to find a note taped to my door. "Come to 3B. There's pizza and I accidentally made too much eye contact with a hot guy at the store and I need to spiral out loud." I laughed. I went. That night, he was quieter than usual. We sat on the couch, the movie playing low in the background, and at some point he leaned against me. "You ever feel like you're waiting for someone to just see you?" he asked. I turned toward him. "I see you," I said. He looked at me for a long moment. Then, almost like he didn't mean to say it out loud, he whispered, "I like you." I felt it, that stillness before something begins. That second where everything could change, and you're not sure if you're ready, but you want to be. So I said, "Then let's stop pretending we're just neighbors." He leaned in, and we kissed slow, unsure, real. Since that night, we've been figuring it out. We still eat cold cereal on the floor, still yell at each other through the walls. But now there are lazy mornings with legs tangled in blankets, kisses before coffee, and shared playlists labeled us. Turns out, moving to a new city wasn't the best part of my year. Meeting him was behind the scenes. I only took the job because I needed rent money. Production assistant. Glorified errand boy. My job was to fetch coffee, hold cables, stay out of the way, and pretend like I wasn't starstruck every 5 minutes. The movie wasn't even that big. Just an indie film with an overworked director and a tight budget. But there was one name in the cast that stood out. Landon Wolf. He wasn't a megastar, but if you were queer and had a Tumblr phase in high school, you knew him. That one brooding gay role in a teen drama? That was him. Every other GIF set? Him. The guy who made eyeliner look emotional. So, naturally, when I spilled iced coffee all over his shoes on day 3, I wanted to disappear. He looked down, then looked up at me. "Well, that's new." I apologized a lot. He laughed. "It's fine. Honestly, nice to know someone's still clumsier than I am." That was our first real interaction. Our second was when he asked if I could help him rehearse lines during a break. I expected him to be cold, detached, too famous to care. But he was kind, goofy even, said dude too much, made weird jokes about craft services food, called me coffee assassin for 2 weeks straight. We started talking more. During downtime between takes, during long resets, he asked about my life, my favorite movies, my worst job ever. And I learned things about him too. That he hated red carpets, missed his hometown, and wished people saw him, not just the roles he played. One night, we were the last 2 people in the holding area, waiting for a rain delay to pass. He was stretched out on a folding chair, hoodie over his face, mumbling lines to himself. I sat nearby, trying not to stare. "You know," he said suddenly, lifting the hoodie, "you look at me like I'm someone else." I blinked. "Sorry." I didn't mean to. No, it's not a bad thing, he said. Most people just look through me. We sat in silence for a minute. Then he said, Do you like guys? My heart did a full gymnastics routine. Yeah, I said quietly. Do you? He looked at me for a long time, then nodded. But I don't talk about it much. Why now? Because you don't feel like part of all this, he said, gesturing at the lights, the crew, the cameras. You feel like real. He stood up, took a step closer, and then, like we were in a movie, he kissed me. Right there, in the soundstage shadows between takes. It wasn't passionate. It wasn't perfect. It was tentative, brave, quiet. Afterward, he whispered, You're not gonna put that on TikTok, right? I laughed. Only if we trend. The rest of the shoot was a blur. We didn't make a thing of it. Didn't tell anyone. But in the background, between the chaos, we found time for glances, side smiles, and late-night texts. The day the shoot wrapped, he hugged me goodbye and said, You're the best part of this job I wasn't supposed to have. I smiled. Don't be a stranger. He didn't promise anything. But a week later, I got a message. Next film's in New York. Want to come crash the set? And just like that, we weren't just behind the scenes anymore. The lake house. I hadn't been back to the lake house in almost 10 years. Not since high school summers, fire pits, mosquito bites, and midnight swims. Not since we all grew up and went our separate ways. But when my parents told me they were finally selling it, the old wooden cabin tucked between pines and water, I knew I had to say goodbye. I drove up on a Friday evening, windows down, radio low, heart full of something I couldn't quite name. The second I pulled in, I felt it. Memories hanging in the air like fog. I stepped out, stretched, and turned toward the dock. And there he was, Jason, sitting at the edge of the water, legs dangling, drink in hand, just like he used to. Same messy hair, same tired smile. You're here, he said without turning. You too. He looked over his shoulder. Thought I'd surprise you. I walked down, my shoes crunching the gravel. We didn't hug. We didn't have to. We just were. Jason and I had spent every summer at this lake from age 9 to 17. Best friends. Inseparable. Except for that one last summer, the one where everything changed. We sat together on the dock, watching the water ripple gold. Remember the old raft? He asked. You mean the one that almost sank every year? He grinned. Yeah, I thought about that a lot. Silence. Then he said, I also think about that last night. I knew what he meant. The night he kissed me. It was after a storm, with the power out and the world lit only by moonlight. He kissed me once, soft and quick, and then said nothing. I never brought it up, and by fall we were both gone. I wasn't ready, I said now. I know, he replied. Neither was I. We sat in the silence for a while. Then I asked, Why'd you come? He looked at me. Because I wondered if maybe this time we'd both be ready. The sky darkened around us, the stars appearing one by one. Jason turned toward me. I've thought about you every summer since. My heart felt full and tight at the same time. I've never stopped wondering, I whispered. This time, when he leaned in, I didn't flinch. I didn't turn away. Our kiss was slow, warm, familiar, and new all at once. It felt like everything we didn't say finally said. That night, we lit a fire, talked until it burned out, slept under the same blanket on the floor like kids. Only we weren't kids anymore. We were two men who had come back to the place where it all began. And maybe started over.